Prime Minister.
Okay.
That should be Peter MacKay holding up his hand. Peter MacKay should be holding up the hand of Erin O'Toole, not some loser whose name I've forgotten. You normally have the second place guy hold up the hand of the first place guy to show a symbol of unity. But Andrew Scheer just had to make it about him just one more time, but of course it won't. I thought Peter MacKay was going to win, and I thought it was going to be the end of the Conservative Party. Erin O'Toole does not spell the end of the Conservative Party necessarily.
No.
I hope he does the right thing, and I hope he becomes the happy warrior. That's what I felt. He's a happy enough guy. I thought he was boring a little bit, but as I said before, Stephen Harper was boring too. Here comes the
Deloitte
news.
was retained by the Conservative Fund Canada Leadership Election Organizing Committee and the Chief Returning Officer to act as an independent advisor and observer for the 2020 Conservative Party of Canada leadership election. Dan and Lisa, I'm going to give you the results for round 2 and 3.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Doreen. That's very helpful.
Round 2. In alphabetical order, Ms. Lewis, 10,140 points. Mr. MacKay, 11,756 points. Mr. O'Toole, 11,903 points. Ms. Lewis falls off this ballot. We proceed to the third, and I want to thank her very much for her participation in this leadership race.
Huh.
Okay.
It's fast.
Well, not as big a lead for O'Toole over MacKay as I thought. Looking at the earlier stats.
Okay.
I think what.
Et les résultats
Yeah.
du troisième scrutin.
Here we go.
Monsieur MacKay, 14 528 points. Et le gagnant et le prochain chef du Parti conservateur,
O'Toole won.
Erin O'Toole, avec 19 271 points.
In English, the results for the final test, Mr. MacKay, 14,528 points. Mr. O'Toole, 19,271 points. Erin O'Toole is the new leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. Congratulations, Mr. O'Toole.
Félicitations, Monsieur O'Toole.
Oh, the
Merci.
hubris of MacKay. Isn't that interesting? They were so certain the whole time, weren't they, Sheila? They were so certain the MacKay campaign.
Yep.
Very interesting to look at the votes. I think that it looks like the majority of Derek Sloan's second choicers went to Leslie Lewis.
Yep. Yep. Which makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
And then 2-1, Leslie Lewis's total vote count went to Erin O'Toole.
Yep.
3-1.
Yep.
3-1.
Well, the good news is all of Peter MacKay's supporters on the internet can go back to being liberals and they can leave us alone, leave me alone, and my internet experience is going to be a lot better going forward.
Yeah, very interesting. You know, when someone has confidence and arrogance, as I would say Peter MacKay has, and his whole team exudes, oh, we're winning, we don't have to show up at debates, we don't have to talk to people we don't want, you think maybe they know something we don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they really have it in the bag. I was surprised with the Quebec numbers. I thought that MacKay had like some secret advantage there. He did not. And the Atlantic, he did well in the Atlantic, including obviously his home province of Nova Scotia. But he didn't have the total blowout in the Atlantic. Leslie Lewis stole some of that from him.
Yeah.
Peter MacKay was faking it. He was faking it till he could make it. And in the end, he didn't make it. And I think that, frankly, he's going to be relieved. He's going to be a little embarrassed. But look, it wasn't his money. And he's going to go back to his prestigious job at a prestigious law firm in Toronto and his happy family. And he's done. I think a month from now, he's going to feel great about this.
Yeah, I do too. I think the Biden strategy didn't work. The Biden strategy as in, it's just my turn to run, it's my turn to be in charge, and I don't need to show up to these things and talk to normal people and answer questions, which is sort of what the Democrats are doing with Biden right now. It didn't work out for McKay. He skipped 2 debates.
Yeah.
2 debates, the opportunity to speak to conservatives who were obviously apprehensive about the fact that he's even conservative at all. He didn't come to make his case to them, and that shows in the numbers. O'Toole, to his credit, did talk to us. He did answer questions. Not McKay.
Yeah.
Not at all. And, you know, when you're trying to appeal to Western voters, McKay was leveled in the West. And that's the conservative war chest. That's the West. So if you if the rest of the country, the conservatives in the rest of the country, put McKay into a position of power, we just have the problem with Confederation replicating itself back in the party.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. I mean, I had thought, well, he's acting like he's ahead. He's got so much money. He's buying up support. I didn't know anyone who supported him who wasn't on the payroll, but I thought, well,
no, me neither.
He's got the dough. And I was worried for what it would do. I was worried that he was going to jettison key parts of the party: Christians, conservatives, nationalists, populists, Westerners, global warming skeptics, UN skeptics. I thought it really was going to be Liberal Party round 2. And I thought that had a likelihood of happening. Erin O'Toole winning, you know, it's funny because the front-runner strategy, the avoid debate strategy, maybe it doesn't work so well in a transferable ballot, because you're not just playing to your team, you're trying to show you're a good sport to the other team so they'll make you choice 2 or 3. So while his first choice people probably didn't care or even didn't want him to go to those debates, what do you think Derek Sloan's people thought? What do you think Leslyn Lewis's people thought when he blamed his not going to that debate on her earache or whatever it was? It was really weird. So I think maybe that strategy to duck and hide backfired. Well, it clearly did on the transfer button.
Obviously.
And Leslyn Lewis in that next to last round, having 90% as many votes or 85% as many votes as McKay, is stunning.
Yeah.
Absolutely stunning. And I don't care what the racists at the CBC say, what Proud Boys, Rosemary Barton, or Wendy N-word Mesley have to say. Leslyn Lewis is a emerging star in the party who rocked the party, exceeded my expectations, and I was sort of cheering for her.
Me too. Yeah.
And if just because those white nationalists at the CBC wrote her off and had some sort of weird apartheid panel and apartheid coverage, conservative voters aren't bigots like that. And, you know, I think that the CBC has to really rethink their apartheid panels. That's just me, though. I'm a Jew. Hopefully they're not as anti-Jewish as they are anti-black, because holy cow, we don't need that again. Other than that, great coverage by the CBC. I'm looking at their page right now, 1.2 thousand likes, 2.4 thousand dislikes. So that's pretty healthy. 2/3 of viewers think they suck. Who am I to dispute? Who am I? Let the people speak. I'm looking at ours, by contrast. 3,800 likes and 67 dislikes. Not 6,700, just 67.
67 people work in the phones over at the CBC.
Yeah, that's right, those white nationalists. I'm never going to let them live this down. I mean, whew, just holy cow. White power in politics. Remind me never to go on that show.
You know what? If O'Toole keeps talking the way he is about cancel culture, about, you know, the idea that there are things in our society that do need to be preserved and things about our culture that are great and that we shouldn't erase our history, that's going to at least energize conservatives who are much like you, that say, this guy's not all that different than Trudeau, you can't beat him. There's a lot of people that they're looking for a leader like that. And maybe that's O'Toole. I'm not sure yet. I guess that remains to be seen. And sorry, go ahead.
No, okay, I was going to say, look, Stephen Harper was not sexy.
No.
He had a fairly bland accountant's personality, accountant's style, accountant's fashion, accountant's tone of voice. But he was a serious man for serious times, including the 2008 Great Recession. And he spoke with meaning, not blather. So the fact that Erin O'Toole is not particularly sexy and doesn't have a particularly hip persona need not be an obstacle for him if he can say things of interest and substance. We are in the heaviest of times. Financially, the pandemic, China. These are the most serious times in some ways since the Second World War. And we have the most unserious prime minister, and we just lost the finance minister, and now we put some dilettante in position. This is the time for seriousness. I don't think Peter MacKay had a chance. I think Erin O'Toole has a chance. He's got to rise to the occasion, and he's got to get over some of his blind spots. One of them is suing conservatives, banning conservatives, canceling conservatives, whether it's Jim Karahalios or his evasion of us for many months. Get over it. If you are truly embracing free speech and an end to cancel culture, prove it, live it. And by the way, you'll reap the rewards for it. Just like the first politician who says he's against transgender guys playing girls' sports. Oh my God, you're going to go up 5% in the polls. How about just do that instead of listening to your pundits? Andrew Scheer is still talking. The world is watching. It's 1:19 a.m., but Andrew Scheer just can't give it up. He just can't stop being the ex-leader now. You loser, go home. Oh,
Anybody who stuck around this long is interested in hearing what Erin O'Toole has to say. So could they just please let him get up there and say it so that everybody who's put in 7 hours can finish and go home?
It is 1:20 in the morning, and that dopey buffoon, Andrew Scheer, has literally blocked the new leader, Erin O'Toole, from getting on stage. I don't know how many people are still watching at this late hour, but I'm sorry, you're going to have to wait a little longer, because that super loser with the mega pension, Andrew Scheer, wants to have a little one-on-one press interview with Erin O'Toole before the party members get to him. And you're just going to have to wait. I mean, Andrew Scheer is more important than you. You know this because he demanded a top-up from the party to pay for his private school. He demanded to fly in a private jet. So just shut up and wait and know your place. Because Andrew Scheer is whispering some advice to Erin O'Toole.
How to lose?
Now.
How to lose.
I'm not even kidding. What a deep disgrace Andrew Scheer is. You know, there's a saying you sometimes hear that when people leave, that it's the most graceful thing they ever did. They cannot say that. You know, nothing became him like the leaving. Nothing became him in the job like his leaving of it. You cannot say that about the disgrace named Andrew Scheer. Finally. Once Andrew Scheer is done, you okay, Andrew?
What an honor. What an honor. Thank you so much. Conservative members across this country have been patient throughout this leadership race, as Canadians have been through COVID-19. And Conservatives were patient again tonight. So thank you for being patient throughout this leadership race.
Leslie Lewis coming up to congratulate Erin O'Toole. And there's Peter MacKay. I don't see Derek Stoney. Oh, there he is.
Family? Come on, you guys involved.
Leslie Lewis, the surprising success of the night. Here's O'Toole's family. Oh, I think that really is Andrew Scheer. He really is. I was joking, but he's coming back up. Just leave, Andrew Scheer. Go away. Oh, please don't talk. Don't let him talk. Don't let him
No
talk.
more.
Don't let him talk. It's not you anymore, Andrew. It's not about you anymore.
All right, next Prime Minister.
Okay.
That should be Peter MacKay holding up his hand. Peter MacKay should be holding up the hand of Erin O'Toole, not some loser whose name I've forgotten. You normally have the second place guy hold up the hand of the first place guy to show a symbol of unity. But Andrew Scheer just had to make it about him just one more time, but of course it won't be just one more time. It would have been nice to have Peter MacKay hold up Erin O'Toole's hand, wouldn't it? That's sort of what you do.
Yeah.
Andrew
Yeah.
Scheer had to have that moment for himself, though. I thought Peter MacKay was going to win, and I thought it was going to be the end of the Conservative Party. Erin O'Toole does not spell the end of the Conservative Party necessarily.
No.
I hope he does the right thing, and I hope he becomes the happy warrior. That's what I felt. He's a happy enough guy. I thought he was boring a little bit, but as I said before, Stephen Harper was boring too.
Yep.
Shame on the racist CBC for not covering Leslyn Lewis. I see Keean Bexley made a tweet saying perhaps if the mainstream media would have given Leslyn Lewis more airtime, she would have actually done even better, theoretically even winning, and that's obviously true. The CBC just can't shut up about leftists like Kamala Harris in a different country, but they literally put Leslyn Lewis in an ice bucket because God forbid they support a woman of color who doesn't agree with them. You have your all-white Ice Princess panel on Rosemary Barton's White Power and Politics show. They don't have time for women of color, obviously, unless they're left-wing. And with Wendy Edward Mesley controlling the shots, that they just will never allow a woman like Leslyn Lewis to get any connection with people. They starved her of oxygen. That's a real what if. What if the CBC wasn't so hateful towards a black woman? What if they would have given her the same airtime that they give Kamala Harris? I mean, we'll never know the answer to that. Sheila, what do you think? Last word to you.
Well, and the CBC treatment of Leslyn Lewis, I think we're going to see that play out when she selects a seat to run in, because there are two opening up in the Toronto area. I'm sure she'll step into one of them, or she should. And we'll see how the CBC treats her as she runs in that by-election there.
Yeah. I think that it'll be the same way that the leftist media treated Clarence Thomas. He called it a high-tech lynching. You can expect the same here. I wouldn't be surprised if Wendy Mesley shows up, lipstick smeared, weird on her face, bottle of booze in each hand. You're shouting the N-word at her on the street like some weird hobo. The CBC's the worst, isn't it? That's an excerpt from a daily live stream show that I do every day at 12 noon Eastern Time. I talk about the stories of the day, play some fun videos, and most importantly, I take your questions and comments in what YouTube calls a super chat. If you like that, please tune in live. It's way more fun that way. You can join the conversation. And every day at 8 p.m., I have a special produced show with a whole monologue, and I interview guests, and I read my fan mail and my hate mail. You can learn more about both my daily live show and the nightly premium show at rebelnews.com.